And you're all very welcome to our midweek exhale. It is Wednesday again, and we're going to just take a pause, take some time to just reset, to rest. And that's your main job for the next hour, to rest. My name's Marie, and I'm one half of the midweek exhale, of the exhale awakening. And somewhere on your screen is Sharyn, who is the other half of the exhale awakening. I'm not going to point because I'll point the wrong way and then it'll look silly. And we lead the midweek exhale every Wednesday. It's evening for us. I do understand it mightn't be evening for everybody, but it has the same aim for everybody, and that is just to stop, just to pause in the middle of the week and to rest because the week builds. Well, I find the week builds and builds and builds, and sometimes you get to Friday and you're kind of going, okay, where did that week go? So this is your hour just for you. All of our sessions have the same shape. We will lead 4 different breath styles, and we'll begin each breath style with birdsong, and we will finish each breath style with silence. And the birdsong and silence are very deliberate because birdsong, silence, and the breath together um, create the medicine that this hour has. Because the birdsong is from ancient times, and it's one of those things that our brain still remembers automatically because our ancestors, when they would have been out hunting, if they could hear the birds, they knew they were safe because there were no predators if there were birds. And our brain still remembers that. And our brain still gets that signal of safety when there's birdsong. And that signal of safety allows us to go into the parasympathetic nervous system. The silence does the same. But the other thing is when we go into the parasympathetic nervous system and we offer silence, it allows the body to do all the amazing things our body does. And we will be resting, but our bodies won't be resting. Our bodies will be creating new neural pathways in our brains and doing all kinds of magical things that only really happen when we give our brain the signal of safety and then give silence. So that, along with the breath, is the magic of these sessions. The 4 breath styles that we will lead in this session are, we call them our Sufi elements breath. So we're going to take you through the elements. So we're going to begin with the element of water. We're then going to do fire. We're then going to do air, and we're then going to do earth. And then the 5th element of space is the silence that we will offer between every 2 breaths. We'll explain the breaths when we get into each element. But really, there's nothing difficult. It's variations of breathing in and out through your mouth and nose. So we will explain them as we go along. We have one rule here, and that rule is to be comfortable. So make sure you have everything to look after your own physical comfort. So you may need a blanket. Maybe you'll have changes in temperature. You may need water. Make sure that you're maybe somewhere that you'll not be disturbed. And if during the session maybe you feel you need to move, please feel free to move. The one thing we would ask is that you don't stand up, because when we do any sort of conscious breathing, we change the chemistry inside our bodies, and it can make us lightheaded. So if you stand up quickly, and I know you're at home, and I appreciate something might happen that you may have to get up and deal with, but just be very, very careful before you get up. Allow your breathing to come back to normal, and allow your system to settle, and then get up really slowly, because obviously we don't want anybody hurting themselves. So yeah, look after your physical comfort. And we do be comfortable is kind of our rule. However, we're going to lead you in breath work. And breath work, by its very nature, and all the things that we do in this session, so allowing the body to feel safe and doing breath work, it can bring us to the edges of our comfort. And you might get to places that just don't feel completely comfortable. And the invitation is that that if it's right for you in this session, that you sit with that discomfort. And that could be emotional, or it could show in any number of different ways. We'll never ask you to push through. We will never ask you to keep going, get to the other side of the discomfort. That's not what we do. But we will invite you to sit with the discomfort, even for a short time, and just notice what's there. Because sometimes we come away from it having learned something. But equally, sometimes when we sit with the discomfort, it just begins to soften. And maybe if there is something that's stuck, it just begins to gently flow again. Now, that being said, this is your session. You are in complete control. And if in this session you're going, no, I don't want any discomfort, then you are very welcome at any point to bring your breathing back to normal, or maybe to one of the other breath styles we've done, and to just, once you do that, any sensations, any discomfort you're feeling will begin to fade. So just know that you're in control, but also the invitation is to, maybe to just sit with it. Also, when we begin doing the breaths, there may be one that you sort of go, oh no, I don't like that. I did that before, or I don't like that. The invitation is to give it a try, to be open to maybe trying it and see. And if when you've tried it, you discover actually, no, I really don't like that. That's not for me in this session, then please feel free to go back to your natural breath rhythm or another breathing style. I don't think there's anything else I have to say. I think we're good to go. So make yourselves comfortable. You can do this either lying down or sitting up. If you're sitting up, make sure you're properly supported. And if you're lying down and you have a pillow, make sure it's not too high, because it can obstruct your airways and make the breath just slightly more difficult. So I will start the bird song. So just make yourself comfortable. Just, maybe take some wriggles or movements just to check that you actually are comfortable. And notice as you're doing that, is there any part of your body that's maybe calling to you right now? Maybe there's stiffness or tension, even maybe pain. And just notice that. And then notice what you're bringing, what thoughts, what's going on in your mind as we begin. And maybe notice how you feel. Maybe you haven't really considered how you feel today. So just checking in with how you feel. And if that's okay, that's fine too. But maybe you don't even know how you feel. And in our first breath segment, we're going to breathe with the element of water, which is the emotions. And maybe as we breathe, just being aware of emotions as they're there. And I'm going to invite you in this segment to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Almost an extended exhale. And even as you breathe, you might want to introduce some sighs. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And inhaling gently. And then just letting the breath all out. maybe you might want to gently connect your breaths. So when the exhale finishes, going straight into another gentle inhale. And feeling the breath flow. And you might want to experiment with maybe pursing your lips as you exhale. And just noticing how that feels. Finding your own rhythm, but allowing the breath to flow. Noticing as you breathe, are there emotions maybe that are bubbling up? And just allowing them to flow through without feeling the need to analyze them or get caught up in them. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Gently inhaling and then just letting the exhale fall away. And maybe in that long, slow exhale, maybe you want to put in a sigh. And that sigh might have a voice, or it might be a whisper. Allowing the breath to flow in and to flow out. we're approaching the silence. So maybe taking another gentle inhale and sighing out a big sigh. And getting ready to rest in the silence.
And as the birdsong begins, just noticing how it felt to be in silence for that 2 minutes. Maybe it felt like it was never going to end. Maybe it felt like it passed in a blink. All you need to do is just notice how it felt. And prepare yourself for the next breath. For our next breath, we're going to breathe with the element of fire. So we're going to invite in inspiration and life force. Maybe a little bit of action, so you might feel like moving some. And just see what happens as you begin to bring in the warmth. Now we're going to do this very gently, in and out through the mouth. So not our usual way of breathing. We always try and breathe through our nose naturally. We're just going to see how different it feels to breathe in and out through the mouth. Nice and slowly, really gently. We're not looking at this, not looking for this to be a high ventilation practice. We're just looking for this to be very gentle, in and out through the mouth. So just gently feel that first breath in through the mouth, gently letting it go when you reach the top of the breath. And if you're not used to breathing in this way and it feels a little unnatural, just maybe place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And maybe place your tongue just behind your lower teeth. And see how it feels different, bringing the breath in through the mouth. In those two different ways. And go with the one that feels best for you. Just gently breathing in through the mouth and gently letting the breath go. Gently welcoming in the element of fire. Getting a sense of the passions that drive you, the life force that moves through you with every breath. The inspired action, the confidence maybe, the warmth. Let the breath warm you. Getting a sense of the light and the heat that comes from fire. Letting the breath reveal how that's showing itself for you tonight. Gently breathing in and out through the mouth. We're approaching our last minute now. So making this your last 2 breaths. Before you let your breath return to its natural rhythm. Just feel how that breath felt. notice the difference between that and the breath of water. And just take that noticing into our next period of silence, another time of rest.
And as the bird song begins again, reflecting on what that silence felt like. Maybe just as the two breaths felt different, the silence felt different, but equally maybe it felt exactly the same. And we're going to move to the element of air. And air connects us with our mind and our thoughts. And sometimes our mind and our thoughts gets a bad rap when we do things like this. But maybe in this segment, just noticing what's going on in your mind. And knowing that our minds are always engaged. And that's okay. But maybe trying not to get caught up in the stories. And if you do find yourself getting caught up, just gently bringing your attention back. And we're going to use a breath that engages your mind in this segment. Well, it certainly does for me, because we're going to breathe in through our mouth and out through our nose. So again, breathing in gently through your mouth. And then at the top of the inhale, closing your mouth and allowing the breath just to flow through your nose. So when you're ready, beginning to breathe in through your mouth and out through your nose. And noticing how that feels. It might feel difficult and it might feel unusual. But staying with it. Breathing in gently through your mouth. And then out through your nose. Gently connecting the breaths. And maybe you have to engage your brain to keep the rhythm going. To maybe stop you from going back to something that feels a little more natural. Noticing how that feels. And maybe how it feels different to the last one, the fire breath. Still breathing in through your mouth, but this time you're breathing out through your nose. Maybe the breath's taking a little bit of focus and noticing what that's doing to your thoughts. Maybe you've let the breath pattern go. Maybe take it up again, just even for a few breaths. In through your mouth and out through your nose. Feeling the air. We're working with the element of air here. Keeping the inhale gentle. Gently inhaling through your mouth. And keeping the exhale long and slow through your nose. And we're in our last 90 seconds. Really focusing on bringing your breath in through your mouth. Letting it go through your nose. And we're approaching the silence, so maybe just 2 more breaths here. And then allowing your breath to come back to its natural rhythm. And just noticing how that felt. Maybe noticing your mind now and what's happening there. As we prepare to rest in the silence again.
As the bird song begins again, just noticing you felt in that silence. Noticing the difference in each of the breaths and how they felt in your body. As we bring the final breath into being with the element of earth. And for this breath, we are going to breathe with our balanced breath, or coherence breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And just letting the inhale and the exhale be the same length. And for this one, you don't need to count or use your fingers or give attention to the length of the inhale and the exhale. Just trust that the music and your breath will bring you into balance. coming into full awareness of your body and your connection to the surface that you're laying on or seated on, and knowing that underneath that surface is a floor, maybe ceilings and other floors, but underneath it all is the earth holding you. Underneath you is the ground. Bring your breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Gently following the rhythm. Bring your attention to your breath, gently entering and exiting through your nose. Feel your ribcage, your back, your shoulders moving with every inhale and every exhale. Your body responding to the breath. Gently in and out through the nose. Your breath nice and steady. If your mind has drifted, just coming back to focusing on your breath. Steady and stable, always there. Your breath only one thought away at any time. Almost at the end of this track now, so one more breath, and And on your next exhale, just letting your natural rhythm return. Just letting the drum bring us into the silence.
And as the birdsong begins for a final time in this session, just taking a moment to notice how you feel now. To notice how the last silence felt, how all the silences felt, and how the breaths felt. And now it's time to begin to consider coming back. So again, connecting with the ground under you, supporting you. So the surface and the floor, and then whatever else is between you and the ground. And feeling the ground there, feeling the support. And then maybe beginning to introduce some gentle movement, listening to what your body wants. Does it need a stretch? Do you need to move your head or your shoulders, your fingers? Listening to where you need to move. And if you're lying down, thinking about maybe rolling over onto your side to get back up slowly. And just looking around the room that you're in. The things you can see, the colours and the shapes. And then remembering that as well as in a physical space, you're also in a Zoom room. And making your way slowly back to the Zoom room.
And there's no rush. As you do that, I'll just give you a couple of notices. So, firstly, the recording of this session will go up on YouTube and also into our Exhale library. The Exhale library, you can get the recording without ads, but if you do prefer YouTube, then please give us a like or a subscribe. We love getting them. And if you'd like to breathe with us for a little longer, we have our longer breathworks on the fourth Friday of every month. And this time we're breathing with the energy of Gemini as the sun's whispers move through the zodiac. And then our next deeper exhale, slightly longer still, we have a bit of teaching, Celtic teaching in there too, is the deeper exhale online retreat on the second Sunday. And we've just done Vine and we'll be moving into Hawthorn. Hawthorn or Ash? Aspen. I knew it began with an A. Aspen. We're doing Aspen next. And then the final notice in terms of things that you can come and join us with is a 3-day retreat that we're running in Yorkshire. Now, I know for some of you that's a long way away, so just bear with me, please. It's the 5th and the 7th of June, so we'll be stopping talking about this in 2 weeks or something like that. I can't believe how close it is. And you can come for the day, you can come for 2 days, or you can come for all three. And the ticket listing is there if you want to go and have a look and see what all that's about. A big jamboree of breathwork, astrology, Celtic natural Celtic medicine, walking the land, meeting the trees, just a wonderful gathering. And of course, finally, if you've enjoyed the session and you'd like to leave us a review, our directory listing is there. So on that note, I'm just going to give you all a little bit of tending support. Even though this breath has been gentle, there is the chance that it might ripple out into the days, even weeks ahead. So take care of yourself and be aware of the fact that you have done breath work today, and sometimes your body just settles into that, and you might see some things arising for you over the next few days. So take care of your hydration, take care of your sleep, take care of like what you're eating, your nourishing food, and be aware of yourself and notice. And on that note, I am going to stop the recording. I'm going to